I think it's good moves on both of them. I think this was like the best transfer window to date by far, and like the most outrageous one. But I do think Messi does have the better chance. I think PSG will win domestic. They'll win Champions League, and I think Argentina, if and when they qualify, will have a very good run just because of the momentum that they're starting to build. But I wish Ronaldo the best of luck and all the Ronaldo supporters tuning in. Because I know one thing in the media world, Julie, the three things you never talk about, Messi, Ronaldo, and politics is what I've learned.
That's what we talk about. That gets those mentions going, baby. We talk about all, gets everyone going, meh, meh, meh. I don't agree with you. That's called engagement. Hey guys, welcome on into Drinks with Binks. I'm Julie Stewart-Binks. Great to be back drinking and binking with you after a wonderful week of covering the CONMEBOL South American World Cup qualifiers, streaming exclusively on fuboTV. And I'm thrilled that today's guest was actually the analyst I worked alongside for these qualifiers. Someone though whose career I've followed for so many years when she played for Team Canada, NWSL, and now is a broadcaster covering the beautiful game in so many different ways. I would like to raise a toast to Saskatchewan's own Kaylyn Kyle. Thank you for being here on the show, and congratulations on everything you've accomplished on and off the pitch.
Thank you so much. I'm dying to know what you're drinking, because that looks like acid or like motor fuel for a car. Cheers for having me.
Oh yeah, it's a little bit of both. A little bit of both. It's a great margarita that matches my nails. Yeah, so everyone out there, we are taping this before match day 10. So if anything crazy happens, like players being pulled off the pitch because of health reasons, we don't know that that's happened yet. But what we do know is that happened in match day 6, which happened on Sunday, September 5th. And Kaylyn, we weren't broadcasting this game, but we were watching it. We know a lot's going to happen. It unfolds every single second of the day. But as a player, as a broadcaster, watching that moment with Brazil-Argentina, 4 minutes into the game, what was going through your head? How did you react?
I'm very professional, but I was on a call for an NWSL match, and I wanted to watch the Brazil one. So I had flipped it open, obviously, I'm not even going to do this, but I had you guys in the background on my laptop as I'm calling a match. And all of a sudden it was like carnage happening. And I was like, what is going on? I refreshed my browser because I was like, maybe my Wi-Fi went down here. Maybe it's like a commercial of like, they're promoting something. I like could not believe it. And then I opened my phone and saw Twitter blow up about it. And it was like the most bizarre situation ever. But then it was one of those situations that we're not really shocked that this is happening in the World Cup qualifiers. I mean, I think they went about it the wrong way. I'm sure we'll dive into that. But I think the biggest takeaway from it is Lionel Messi wearing the photographer pinny. I was dying, and he was just like rocking around, having conversations with everyone. It was just something that you can't even write about that. It was wild. It was amazing. And I think it just makes for that battle between those two teams even stronger.
Right, yeah, because now this rivalry has like a whole new chapter with it because of this like international incident that happened. And we know that things are sort of evolving in terms of what FIFA's going to do, what CONMEBOL is going to do, where does the blame lie in terms of that. But would you say that this is like one of the craziest things you've ever seen in soccer, or like where does it rank?
I'm going to rank it higher than our 2012 bronze medal match where we were robbed of Ben going to the gold. I'm just kidding. No, but I do think it's one of the most craziest things I've ever seen. Because of just like the backstory of these two teams. Obviously, just coming off Copa Argentina, winning it 1-0 over Brazil in Brazil. So I think it just adds to the drama of it, how it unfolded. I mean, the players had been there for 3 days, and then the health official coming on the pitch and putting his hands on players. Like, I loved it because I love a little bit of drama. So I was like, this is wild, and it's only going to make, again, that rivalry even better. And whatever happens with this game or when it's replayed, I will be front row with you, being like rubbing my palms together. You can't get any better than that.
Yeah, we were hoping that we'd be we couldn't do an English broadcast that day, but we were both like, oh man, I wish we were on this, because that's like, as a broadcaster, that's like Christmas Day for you to have just absolute chaos. Obviously for the fans, no one wants to see this, and it's a bad look on everyone involved. But We will get to that later on when we do the actual matches later this week / we already did them because this is airing on Saturday, and we did a really great job, let me tell you. It was amazing. Okay, let's get back to you. And Kaylyn, now you're working as a broadcaster, mentioned your prolific soccer career, which we'll get to, but how has the transition been to now being and talking about the game, but being on TV talking about it?
Well, for one, I feel like now that I'm in the media side, I should have gotten my wardrobe right today. It looks like I've just put toilet paper and like taped it on me. I'm not. I'm actually in a shirt. I promise you that. I'm fully dressed.
If the camera had been a little higher up, we'd be like, and Kaylyn is naked today.
I am getting my hair done at the moment. So there's a backstory of that. But I think the biggest transition for me, it was knowing when I was ready to be done playing. And my dad always told me, he was a professional ice hockey player. He always said, when you fall out of love with the game, it's time for you to move on. And it wasn't that I had fallen out of love with the game. I had fallen out of love with playing the game. So it was very different. I always knew I wanted to go into the broadcasting side of things. And I'm not even saying this because I'm on your show or now I'm working alongside you. I think someone like yourself that has really paved the way. We're from the same region. I watched you on my TV. No, I'm not even just saying this. You can pay me later. That's fine.
Yeah, I will.
But I just look up to people like you within the industry where you've covered every sport and you're confident and you know your stuff and you do the work. And I don't think people know that side of it. So you have to have role models like that. It was like growing up. I didn't have female soccer player role models, but in the broadcasting world, I have. So it was an easier transition because people like you, people like Karina LeBlanc that had gotten into the media world and really started to pave the way. And I could have conversations with, maybe not so much you, but now that we've worked together, I've had those conversations, but with someone like Karina LeBlanc having conversations of the industry and because it's very different. I was a small fish in a really big pond. And I knew one thing that I would have on everyone, and it was my work ethic. And I don't know if that comes from my family or from soccer. I knew that I would outwork everyone to learn the role. So when I went in for my interview with BN, they were like, can you host? Can you read teleprompter? Can you write? And I was like, yeah. The producer was like, amazing. The boss was like, cool. Okay, just wait on set. We're just going to go behind so we can record this and send it to the bosses in Doha. Meanwhile, I'd never done any of that crap. I'm on my phone Googling, how do I write on teleprompter? How do I read off a teleprompter? Because it's difficult. Like, it sounds so simple, but there's so many moving pieces behind the camera. And I remember I was so nervous, but when the lights went on, I was like, I meant to do this. Like, I meant to do this. I got my job. And then since then, I'm like a pest. I reach out to people that I'm like, I want that gig. I'm going to reach out to you. I'll get 800 no's, but until I get that yes. And then I feel like once I get my foot through the door, it speaks for itself because I've worked so hard and I do the research and I do the homework. And then I just bring my personality to life in front of the camera.
Yeah, you have all of those things.
Like I bring my clothes as well.
You bring the clothes. You have all of those things, but you also played and you have experience that so many people who currently talk about the game, myself included, could never possibly have. Okay, we have a whole lot more we want to get to with Kaylyn Kyle. It's been a great start so far. We are drinking and binking, and we're going to talk a little Team Canada. Let's go, baby. Hey guys, I'm JSB. We are here on Drinks with Binks, drinking and binking with Kaylyn Kyle, Olympic medalist and TV broadcaster, and get that margarita in there. We got to talk a little Canada because Canada soccer has just been on the up and up. We saw this past week Canadian men's national team holding the U.S. to 1 point at home, which was really stunning for the U.S. men's national team. Great for Canadian men's national team, especially the Alphonso Davies to Kyle Larin. Boom. Do you think that, how far has Canadian men's soccer grown since, you've, been a part of Canadian soccer?
The men's soccer, me growing up, I couldn't name 3 of them. And that's just me being completely honest. And now I think globally what the women's team has done within Canada has brought eyes to Canada soccer. And disagree or agree with that till the cows come home. But I genuinely think that is what has put this spotlight on the Canadian Soccer Association. Now, yes, they've gotten some incredible players in from the men's. But I mean, you look at back in the day, I knew De Guzman. That's genuinely about it. But you look now, I mean, you have some of our top players, Alphonso Davies, Champions League winner, Bundesliga winner. I mean, he wins trophies every other week. I can't keep up. You look at our women's team going and kicking ass and bringing home a gold medal at the Olympic Games, knocking off the United States, and not an easy pass, to say the least, to get to that gold medal game. It only shows what the Canadian Soccer Association has done. John Herdman, quite frankly, can we highlight that? Can we get a little bobblehead here of John Herdman? Because I think he doesn't get enough credit that he deserves. And kind of what annoyed me is when he went from the women's team to the men's team, it was very negative. Everyone in the media is super negative. And I'm like, hold on a minute, give the guy a chance, because he's well organized. And the Canadian men's team was never organized. And that is why they could never identify players. They couldn't bring in top quality players because we genuinely didn't even know where they were playing in the world. You have Jonathan David that's playing at Lille and has been on fire. And it comes down to John Herdman implementing a structure, which they never ever had, implementing a structure on the women's side. And now, I mean, people look at Canada and it's not like, oh, they're just going to get stuck in and get stuck into challenges. Like, we can actually play soccer and we're very, very good at it.
Yes, definitely. I mean, and of course, with the women's team winning gold at the Olympics this summer and beating USA to get to that place to play Sweden. Yeah. So what was that like for you watching them win gold?
Well, if I'm, again, being very honest, I feel like I'm being very honest. I feel like you're my therapist at the moment.
I am.
I posted a photo or a video of me after they had won, and I'd gone live as the shootouts were happening in the final. Regret doing it all now, because I literally looked like Kim Kardashian when she lost her diamond earring in the ocean from way back in the day. I am the world's ugliest crier, but it meant so much that everyone was writing me saying, do you regret retiring early? And I was like, no, because I couldn't run how they run now. No one wants to see me run down the street, let alone in a 90-minute performance. But it meant so much to me as a former player that has paved that way. And I never thought of it like that until people were writing me like, you're just as big a part of this as they were winning. And I'm like, no, like I wasn't on the pitch. Like I didn't train for the Olympics this year. I didn't go to Tokyo with no fans, no friends, no family in the stands. Like, that's extremely difficult to do in itself, is playing in a stadium with nothing and then going to a country where you're in quarantine. I mean, you were there, you know how difficult it was. So the mindset of these players needed to be even bigger and better. And I think that's why they did win it, because the last 5 years since John came in 2012 has completely changed the mindset in and around this team, that we're not only good human beings, but we're fantastic players. And we have the mindset to upset anyone. Because Canadians, we all know Canadians, we're lovely people. We say sorry to everyone, but don't cross us, because I feel like we're extremely hard workers. And again, we want, thank you, but we want the world to know, you know, we're more than just like, oh, nice, sweet Canadians.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. And obviously you see how well our women's hockey team does. So now to have a summer team that's consistently medaling in the Olympics is so freaking cool. I'm like so proud to be Canadian. Obviously I love living in America, so my boys are American. And I'm grateful to live here. But it just like I get emotional speaking about being Canadian. Like I'm like tearing up, because it's like, I'm like so proud to be from there in a country where like everyone's just like, it's great. Anyways, wow.
I know. No, but it's so true. And the fact that you lived the moment that you mentioned in 2012 with the Olympics, when Canada and USA played each other, USA ended up on the other side, on the positive side of that result. That moment created a whole generation of Canadian soccer fans. I remember watching you, covering you in Saskatchewan, and that was such a huge moment. Would you say that this is a legitimate rivalry at this point, in maybe even the US's mind? I know I've always thought of it as one.
Yeah, I think as a player when I played, it was never a rivalry for me because we never won. But now I think you can turn it into a rivalry, because it's more than just like, oh, big, brutal Canadians coming in and playing the long ball. Like, we can outplay the US, and we showed that at the last Olympics. And I think this can could continue to be that rivalry. And same on the men's side. Now, first time the men had beat them, I think in, I don't even know how many years, but a lot, I think maybe ever, no, not ever, but I think like 23 years or something crazy like that. So I think it goes to show just on the Canadian side that now I think this is finally the rivalry that everyone wished it would be, and now it is, and you're seeing it. I mean, even the men's game this week, and just like social media blew up, and Americans going at Canadians and Canadians going at Americans, and I was loving it. I'm like, finally now we can have a discussion around it where the US doesn't smash us 4-5-6-0. Like, it's like battling till that 90-minute whistle blows. So I think it's really cool, and it's healthy for CONCACAF, and it's healthy for this region, and it's only going to make, and inspire more generations to want to play soccer, whether it's on the female side or male side.
Right, yeah, it gives, USA a little run for their money. It will make them better in the long run, Spin Zone. But it was nice to see, as same with you, a Canadian living in the US, seeing, a little bit of positivity for the Canucks when we've, been second fiddle to them for so long. I say that because I'm a member of Team Canada now. We have a whole lot more to get to, including talking Messi, Ronaldo, and maybe a little bit Regina after the break here with Kaylyn Kyle. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, welcome back to Drinks with Binks. I'm JSB alongside Olympic medalist, TV broadcaster Kaylyn Kyle, who also played, by the way, just a couple of Canadian soccer gals here on the show. I feel like we should be changing outfits, I guess, right now. Although that would mean I'm naked on TV, but that would be...
I'm not. I swear I'm not. I'm not naked.
You played in NWSL, of course. You covered the league. And playing in other women's professional leagues in the States, but from when you played in it to seeing it now, like, what is something you've seen about the growth that really stands out?
I think the biggest part and the growth of it is it's finally on TV. But one of the biggest ones is the ownerships that is now coming in, and the facilities that are coming in. You look at Racing Louisville that just came in. This is their inaugural season. Their fan support is second to none. Their ownership's incredible. They're playing on a grass pitch, which is a huge deal. Mm-hmm. No more turf pitches. Whoever thinks turf pitches is a good idea, it's not a good idea for anyone. But you look at, you just look at some of the ownership. You look at OL Reign that have now partnered up with Olympique Lyon in France. So it's just bringing in quality players, and it's starting to draw better fans because it's better soccer, it's better football wherever you are in the world. And you look at the teams that are coming in next season. One out in LA, and it's like the who's who part of the ownership. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's really incredible. I think you were seeing it on the MLS side, and now everyone is seeing, hold on a minute, the viewership for women's soccer is through the roof. When the U.S. women's national team plays in our own backyard, you can't find a ticket to it. So I think finally it's been a wake-up call for people in North America to want to invest in women's sport and women's soccer. I really wish Canada would wake up. If I'm being quite honest, it's time for that door to be wide open, because we're years and years behind. We're the only team in 2019 in the Women's World Cup of the last 8 teams that doesn't have a domestic league. And we're still winning medals, which is crazy. Like, for them to win gold and not have a domestic league is extremely difficult to do. So imagine if we did have a domestic league. But yeah, I just think the NWSL, you look at it this season, the race is so tight. It's so close, maybe minus Kansas City. They struggled at the beginning, starting to find their way since bringing in some new players. It's just, it's starting to be an incredible league because it's like battle after battle, week in and week out. You genuinely don't know who's going to pick up the 3 points, which I think makes it such an exciting league, because around Europe, you have your top 4 teams that spend the most money, that have the best players, and ultimately never really move from that top 4. Whereas here, it's like 1 week it's Orlando at the top, 1 week it's Portland. So it's pretty cool to see, and I love seeing the growth of it.
Now, speaking of Europe, we saw that Messi's gone to PSG this past summer, also playing for Argentina, trying to take them to World Cup glory. Cristiano Ronaldo going to Manchester United, trying to take Portugal to World Cup glory. Who do you think has a better year?
PSG, Messi, 100%. Hands down. I think I think the one thing...
Like overall, including World Cup stuff. Like who's going to be more successful?
I still think Messi, because you look at Argentina and they finally won a huge trophy with Messi. And you can even see it in the players. You can see it in the country. You can see it in fans around the world. I mean, Argentinians here are wild. Messi came here on vacation and it was like... I can't even explain it, because I was literally seeing videos on social media and I was like, oh my God, that poor guy. But then I'm like, these fans have been waiting for this forever. And like to finally say Messi is the greatest. The reason why he wasn't because he didn't win a massive tournament. It's kind of like Christine Sinclair. Always been the greatest, but never had gotten the recognition for it. So I think for someone like Messi, everything that went on at Barcelona was a dumpster fire. It was wild. Management, I mean, coaching staff turnover. So I think for him to go to PSG, you could see when he landed in Paris, the smile on his face where he was like, I have that weight finally lifted off my shoulders. I have players around me like Mbappe, Neymar that can do that heavy lifting. Players like Di Maria, Keylor Navas, Sergio Ramos, like they have some of the best players in the world. And I just think if they don't win Champions League this year, I will be shocked.
Yeah.
But then you look at Cristiano Ronaldo going back to United, where it all kind of started, not started, but like that's where he kind of, it was his bread and butter. And you saw the fan reaction. Everyone's like, he's going to City, people burning jerseys. Whoever burned their jerseys, that was the stupidest thing you could have ever done. He was never going to Man City ever in a million years. So I think it's good moves on both of them. I think this was like the best transfer window to date by far, and like the most outrageous one. But I do think Messi does have the better chance. I think PSG will win domestic. They'll win Champions League, and I think Argentina, if and when they qualify, will have a very good run just because of the momentum that they're starting to build. But I wish Ronaldo the best of luck and all the Ronaldo supporters tuning in. Because I know one thing in the media world, Julie, the three things you never talk about, Messi, Ronaldo, and politics is what
That's what we talk. That's what we talk about. That gets us mentions going, baby. We talk about all gets everyone going. Meh, meh, meh. I don't agree with you. That's called engagement. So we definitely like that here on the show. Very quickly before we go to break, you're from Saskatchewan, which for people watching the show who don't know is above North Dakota. She's from Saskatoon, and I lived in Regina. Yes, Regina, the city that rhymes with fun. For people that don't know out there, Kaylyn, what would it mean to experience Regina, a hit song?
If I'm being completely honest, I would go to Saskatoon over Regina any day of the week. Not that I don't like Regina. I have family and friends that live there.
Yeah, that's going to get the engagement going, all right.
If you're going to Saskatchewan, don't know why you would, go to Saskatoon.
It's a beautiful, beautiful city right on the water there. Been there one time. I think your assessment is great. Loved my time in the Queen City. Although the Queen's name was Regina, but we don't know where it got lost along the way to become Regina. We got to go to break here on the show. Really glad we got that in. Drinks with Things with Kaylyn Kyle. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, we've had an awesome time drinking and binking here with Kaylyn Kyle. Kaylyn, where can we find you next?
All my social media platforms at Kaylyn Kyle, and I think I work about 1,000,002 jobs. So NWSL, USL, MLS, Inter Miami, MBN. I mean, if you turn on your TV, I should be there, and I would be fully clothed. I feel like if I sit on my knees, then you guys can tell that this is a shirt, I promise you. But yeah, no, it was a...
Finally, we can see that she's wearing a shirt at the end of the show. And also, she crushed it on FuboTV this week here on our Commonwealth South American World Cup qualifiers. And guys, everyone out there, if you want to see more of our content, follow us at Fubo Sports on every social channel, as well as our YouTube page at Fubo Sports for this episode and more like it. And until next time, bottoms up, bitches.